Well, welcome back. It is time now for the Word on Wall Street. Top investors watching your money. Joining me now is Dominari Security CEO Kyle Wool. Also with me is Mike Lee this morning. Kyle, thanks for joining the conversation. It's good to see you this morning. Mike, I want to kick things off with you with a market that is back to gains this morning after that sell-off yesterday. Dow Industrials, NASDAQ, all poised to open higher this morning, despite the fact that we had a pretty good move in oil higher yesterday and yields. The Dow was up 40 points, the NASDAQ up 89, and the S&P higher by 20. Take a look at oil, Mike, lower this morning after rallying to the highest level in more than a month yesterday as tensions escalate in the Middle East. AI stocks this morning look like this. And I know that, you say that these AI chip companies are fighting again, calling it a once-in-a-lifetime generational technology event that can't be stopped. The money that's gone into these stocks is just incredible. You think they keep going?
Yeah, Maria, right now for all of these AI stocks, so your Mag 7, your NVIDIAs, your Marvels, your AMDs, you are at capacity constraints where the demand so far exceeds what can be produced. You have massive margins, and that demand is going to continue for years, in my opinion, because the way to think about AI is taking data sets and data problems that previously would have taken years to solve and completing them in minutes. Okay, the era of big data started about 14 or 15 years ago, and it's all about taking all these different pieces of information, putting it together to something that's actionable to use for a company. When you look at the NVIDIAs of the world, the Microsofts, the Amazons, from just a pure big data play, Palantir is, again, the coolest stock that I've ever seen, the coolest company that I've ever seen, because they are at the forefront of that. It's nice to be able to put together what they call these large language models, which are these big computers and these big computer code, crunching all this data, putting all it together, but you need software to implement that into your organization. So just an example of what Palantir has done in the hospital space, they have a 600 million pound contract with the NHS in the UK to be able to reduce wait times, to be able to make sure if you have a necessary surgery, you don't wait 9 months, you're moved up the chart where somebody who can wait longer waits longer, but creating efficiency there. And so they worked on an emergency room in the Bronx, and within a month, they were able to free up a day and a half of hospital beds in the first month. And so a little over a year ago, they were working with 0 hospitals in the U.S., and now they allocate 14% of all hospital beds in the country. This company has their addressable market, or the TAM, as the analysts refer to it, is in the hundreds of billions of dollars, and they are only doing about $4 billion of revenue right now. I have never seen a company this cool in my lifetime, at the forefront of again, one of the largest technological upgrades, a once-in-a-generation type turning point for how the world is run and how the world operates. And people looking and saying, hey, this might be too expensive, this might be too hard. Well, if you think about how much would you personally pay for someone to work with you and help you with your job every day, all day, in fact, 24/7, would you pay them 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand? Well, right now, Microsoft only gets $1,000 for Copilot. So there's somewhere between 30 and 50x upside for just that segment of artificial intelligence. So we are at the beginning of a turning point. We are far closer to the beginning than we are to the end. It is wildly profitable in certain circumstances. Yep. So all these bear arguments about valuation, I would say that transformational technology companies are rarely cheap, but they're almost never as expensive as they appear.
Well, look, people questioned dot-com companies, right, back in the 90s. And if you questioned Google, you left a lot of money on the table. Look where Google went. What did it go public at, 75 or something like that, right? Mike, I mean, what do you want to say about Supermicro? And Kyle, do you agree with all of this? Supermicro is higher this morning. The server company says that it's shipping more than 100,000 graphics processing units used in AI per quarter. Stock is up, look at this, 4.25% right now. NVIDIA got some competition. AI chip startup Cerebras Systems filing an IPO last week with plans to trade under the ticker symbol CBRS on NASDAQ. Cerebras reporting a net loss of more than $66 million in the first 6 months of the year on $136 million in revenue. Renaissance Capital finding there have been 112 IPOs priced so far this year, with total proceeds up to $26 billion, Kyle. I know you own Cerebras, right? You say it could kick off a bonanza of AI IPOs?
I do, and I agree with 100% what Mike just said, right? When you look at Cerebras, this is a game changer. If you look at the history of the microchips, right? You look at Moore's Law, getting smaller through miniaturization and doubling the power every 18 months. Now, we're getting to the point, according to Jensen Huang, where Moore's Law is dying because you can only get so small on the atomic level. So either you go through nano and you go to subatomic, or you have to reimagine the entire microchip. That's what Cerebras has done. They've come out with a waffle microchip that looks like a frisbee that is 20 times faster than NVIDIA's chip, right? So when you go out there and you look at Cerebras, okay, it's going to be a $7 or $8 billion IPO. Where could that be in the next 6 months, the next 12 months, when Mike's talking about all the money that's going in, whether it's OpenAI just raised $6 billion, XAI raised $6 billion? I would not be surprised if Cerebras isn't the top performing stock in the next 6 months. And Maria, back to myself owned it. I also raised over $10 million for my clients in an SPV that I set up at Dominari that is directly on the cap table of Cerebras. So I definitely believe in this one.
Okay. And Supermicro also higher this morning. You like that one as well?
Yeah, I think Supermicro, if you look at it, 1 year ago it was $20, hit a high of 120. Right now it's at 49 in the pre-market. It goes back to the old Wall Street adage we used to talk about 20, 30 years ago. If you liked it at 80, why would you not love it at 50? I think it goes higher and goes right back to 80.
Guys, do you care about Amazon today? Obviously, the e-commerce giant kicking off a two-day event, Prime Day, for the fall. The top 5 best Prime Day deals are on Apple products, TVs, phones, laptops, tablets, smartwatches. Is this a big deal to you, Mike? What do you make of Prime Day?
Look, it matters. So much of Amazon's stock performance and overall performance has to do with AI and the cloud offering. But Prime Day definitely matters. Okay, we don't want to see declining sales. We don't want to see Amazon miss expectations on their retail, kind of their like what they're known for, but what is much more the vanilla side of their business. It also matters for the overall market and the overall economy. If they have a bad Prime Day, that means the consumer is not as strong as we want. If they have a good Prime Day, that's good news for the overall economy. So it definitely matters. I
was just going to say, I mean, at a minimum, we'll find out how strong the consumer is on this Prime Day, although not everybody participates, Kyle. Real quick, final word, Kyle.
Yeah, I think Prime Day is important. I think the consumer is important. Rates are going down. We saw great jobs numbers last week, and hopefully the economy takes off from here. I'm very bullish going into the election.
All right. Good to see you, Kyle. Thank you. Kyle Wool, Mike, you're with us all morning, and we're grateful. Stay with us. We'll be right back.